I took the new 2026 TOEFL this January and got the perfect 6 score on it, although the test day didn't go as I expected. So let me walk you through exactly what happened on test day, what surprised me, what I did right, and the strategies that actually helped me get the score that I did. But before we get into the day off, let me mention my preparation real quick. See, I was already familiar with the updated 2026 format because I was using the official TOEFL prep partner, study.com. I trained each section, got feedback on exactly what I did wrong and why from their AI tutor. There is a full separate video you can find focused on my preparation, which was, of course, a great deal of my success. But let's get to the point. I was taking the test in person in Berlin. I arrived to the testing center like 40 minutes in advance, filled in the forms that needed to be filled. I left all my belongings in the storage area. You can't even take water or food into the room with you. You take the test fully digitally, but can make some paper notes. In my case, it was 5 people in one room on the laptops. And I must admit it was a bit stressful, especially in the speaking part. I mean, listen to what I said right after the exam. Just got out of the room. Okay, so I think I did a little worse than in the practice test before. What I didn't expect is that many people are sitting in the same room, so everything is done on a laptop. But for some reason I thought it would be individual, so that's something to get prepared for. The speaking part was pretty hard, I think, also because there were other people in the room and like you don't feel so in your bubble. But let's see what the results are. I got my results within like 3 working days after the test, and so a 6.0 there. I was pretty nervous and I had some time since then to think about what advice, what strategies would I give myself for that test day. And I came up with a PDS rule, something I would recommend doing during exam itself. P stands for protect your first questions. You see, the updated 2026 TOEFL has some sections that adapt to your English level. That means it's very important what your early answers would be. So I slowed down at the beginning, double checked, didn't rush, and because I answered correctly the first questions, my level was more accurate and higher for the rest of the questions. And this is actually how I practiced the P rule before test day. This adaptivity was probably the biggest adjustment for me in the new TOEFL format, and before practicing, I didn't fully understand what adaptive really meant in real life. But once I started doing adaptive reading and listening exercises on study.com, I noticed one thing. If I were to rush through the first questions and make, let's say, 2 mistakes there because I was nervous or trying to save time, then the whole section gave me worse estimated results than if I made the same 2 mistakes but later in the section. How can you train this protect first questions rule in practice? Just start intentionally slowing down at the start. If I were you, I would reread the first question carefully, double check my answer, and focus more on accuracy than speed. And by the time test day comes, it will feel natural to you instead of stressful. D means don't get stuck. Besides the initial questions, what I just mentioned in the protect your questions part. Don't waste your time. If I didn't know something after a few seconds, I just made my best guess and moved on. If you don't know the answer, it's not gonna somehow magically appear in your head. Don't waste your time, don't waste your focus. One question is not worth it. I'm naturally an overthinker, so if I didn't know an answer immediately, I would sit there trying to force myself to figure it out. Honestly, I didn't even realize how much time I was wasting until I started practicing. One thing that helped me a lot was seeing exactly how long I spent on each question. I noticed there were certain question types where I would completely freeze and overanalyze everything. So during practice, I trained myself to make decisions faster instead of trying to force the perfect answer. And by the time test day came, moving on quickly felt much more natural. So I definitely pay attention to this little timer on study.com if I were you. And finally, S means structure over perfection. This one is especially true for speaking and writing. At first, with writing, I tried to sound perfect and use all the best vocabulary that I could. This ended up with me running out of time, always rewriting my passages, constantly thinking, okay, I can do better, I can switch this word, basically never satisfied. The trick is to turn this switch off in your brain. Stop trying to sound perfect and instead follow a clear structure. You make a point, you give an explanation, you give an example. Point, explanation, example. I wish I could literally shake every single one of you who is a perfectionist like me and be like, stop overcomplicating this. This is how study.com helped me get over trying to sound super advanced all the time, which was just making me slower and way less confident. So instead of focusing on fancy vocabulary, I started focusing on structure. They also have a course with video lessons on specific topics, including breaking down how to organize your answers for different TOEFL tasks. Things
things like how to structure your response, how to support your argument. So definitely check out this course while you're practicing.
I think the biggest realization throughout this process for me was the TOEFL, just like any other test, is testing not just your language, but how well you can figure out the format. You can be super fluent and still lose points if you don't understand how the test, the format works. And that's exactly why a lot of people get stuck at the same score. So if you've taken TOEFL before and didn't improve, I think this is the key. Don't just study more. Don't repeat the same patterns. Do it differently. Switch it up. Before, I focused too much on content, vocabulary, grammar, all that stuff. But this time, I focused on recognizing question patterns, practicing under time pressure, and understanding how the test adapts. Once again, study.com was very helpful for all of that. After all, their practice tests are built together with TOEFL creators and also adapt. Want more? Follow us for more TOEFL prep and English language learning content. Better yet, leave us your questions in the comments and our next video might just be for you.